All right. So, this episode, we've got to just talk about this. It's brought to you by Audible. We're covering a series of movies that are based off a book by Stephen King. And, guys, did you want to hear something crazy about the audio version of this book?
Yes.
That we're covering? Well,
Tell me.
We're going to cover Carrie, but it's actually read by Sissy Spacek.
Whoa.
So,
cool.
if you guys want to take advantage of this promo we've got going, you get a free 30-day trial and one free book through audibletrial.com/MDXpods.
Do you know what I love?
What do you love?
Free stuff.
Free stuff is...
Best stuff. And you can get a free audiobook.
All right, on with the show. So, thank you for listening to Remake Rewind, the podcast where we decide if remakes or reboots should have happened. I'm Mike, as always. With me, we've got David, a.k.a. Double D. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing
David?
pretty good, man. A little warm, but I'm good.
Yeah, you know what? This is my life all the time. You get hot 1 week in San Francisco, deal with it.
No,
Hey, dude,
I can't deal with it.
Whatever, dude. You live in hell.
And that's Dustin, of course. How you doing, Dustin?
It's hot.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
Yeah. You guys aren't used to it.
Nah, it's gross.
It's
Yeah, it
unacceptable.
sucks. Yeah, it's super hot here as well. I'm sorry, guys.
It's like swampy.
It's super swampy. Oh, siren, hold up for a second.
Somebody probably fucking died.
Heat exhaustion.
No, it's the ghetto. Somebody probably got shot.
Because of the heat.
By a heat gun.
God damn, another one. Oh, this is probably a big deal.
Dude, you're good. You gotta watch out for like predators.
Heat gun
They
rampage
only
right
come
here.
in the hottest of summers.
All right. So, we watched Carrie from 1979?
76.
76.
76. Oh, damn. That's even earlier. And the 2013 remake. And just right off the bat, I got to say I enjoyed both of these movies.
I agree.
And
They're
sirens
both
again, sorry.
enjoyable.
Oh, fuck. There's helicopters, too.
Oh.
Shit.
Oh,
That's probably a
yeah.
big deal.
Shit.
What's going on? Get out
I don't
there.
know.
Cover this. Live.
Live stream. The first live stream of Remake Rewind.
Oh, fuck. They've got the searchlights, everything. They're like hovering over the apartment.
Oh, fuck.
It's in your house, dude.
It's all coming from inside the house.
Oh, man. Shit.
Give me a sec. I'm going to close the window down the hall.
Stay away from the windows,
I'm
dude.
going to close the window, man.
Yeah, dude, you don't
Yeah,
want the
can you
dude
do that?
jumping into the house.
Yeah, dude, what if somebody jumps in the house?
Yeah, Katrina's going to close. She just closed the bathroom. It's cutting off a lot of the sound.
It's making her be a hero.
You might as well close the living room, too.
Action hero.
All right, give us just a minute. We're closing all the windows except for...
You gotta
the one
lock
with
it down,
Katrina.
dude.
Fuck,
Yeah.
dude. Fuck, I don't know
Fucking
if I can
Dread
do
style.
this. I'm too worried about you, Mike.
Block war.
Man, maybe the fuckers who stole my bike.
I don't know.
Fuckers.
You should probably get a gun.
And a new
Yeah, right.
bike.
Well, I can't afford a new bike, Double D.
Well, that's fucked.
Damn.
All right. Anyway, I'm just gonna... Fuck, this sucks. There's so much shit I've got to cut out of this. All right. So, of course, we watched the Carrie movie from 1976 starring Sissy Spacek. John Travolta shows up in that movie.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he's a butthole in this movie.
He's a butthole. For sure. It's before he found Scientology.
No else is
Is
in
it?
the movie?
I have no idea.
That'd be interesting.
Let's find out. We'll find out
know.
later, maybe.
Dude, Nancy
And then-
Allen is in this movie.
I'm looking up right now.
RoboCop's
And then, well-
sidekick.
Who?
Nancy Allen, dude. She was
you're right.
Murphy.
Yeah. And then we've got the 2013 remake starring
Lewis,
Chloe
actually.
Moretz, which I'm just going to say off the bat, I actually enjoyed both of these movies.
Mm-hmm. They're great.
Yeah, dude, they were both
And-
very enjoyable.
I was surprised. Like, I remember watching the 2013 one a couple years ago with Katrina, and we both wanted to see it. I think we Redboxed it, and I remember liking it, but I definitely liked it a lot more this time around. And I was very surprised by the original one because I've only seen it on TV, and that opening scene was shocking to me.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody needs to pull up IMDb summaries for this. Dustin, you want to do
I
that?
already have them.
Oh, go, Dustin.
1976 storyline on IMDb. It's nearing the end of the school year. High school senior Carrie White is a social outcast, largely due to being unwise to the ways of the world based on her upbringing. Her mother, Margaret White, is a religious fanatic. Her extreme views primarily targeted against sex, which she believes is a sin. She even believes natural associated processes such as menstruation are a sin, about which she has refused to mention to Carrie. Mrs. White's beliefs were taken to that extreme largely because of her own failed marriage and her husband Ralph long ago having run off with another woman. The only adult authority figure who tries to help Carrie with her life is her phys ed teacher, Miss Collins, who is nonetheless warned not to get too close to go against how Mrs. White chooses to raise Carrie. Mrs. White, whose beliefs are well known in the community. An impromptu event that happens among Carrie's phys ed classmates against her leads to her classmates being punished. One of the students, and then it just kind of trails off, dude. This is a terrible storyline synopsis.
It's
this guy, Huggo, on IMDb sucks.
So, yeah, basically in a nutshell, she has a traumatic experience. I'm just going to talk about the opening to this movie.
Wait, it's either that or Carrie White, a shy, friendless teenage girl who is sheltered by her domineering religious mother, unleashes her telekinetic powers after being humiliated by her classmates at her senior prom.
Concise. Very nice.
That's concise.
That was just the regular one. So Huggo needs to learn how to, cut it.
Cut it out. So, yeah, basically, this movie... So, I've only ever seen the original one on TV. And I've seen it all the way through. So, like, this movie opens up with, like, a very, very quick shot of, like, directed by Brian De Palma, who did Scarface. So, this is the second Brian De Palma movie we're covering.
Yeah.
And there's, like, a little volleyball scene, and they're like, hit it to Carrie. She'll lose, or something like that. She does, and then everyone's like, eat shit, Carrie.
Yeah, they're really
extremely action.
Man.
Oh, man.
I did feel like this Carrie looks way more like a weirdo.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, is super weird looking. And
Yeah, she
like a really
definitely looks
interesting
sheltered.
way. Oh,
And
yeah.
just like an outcast.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then, so it immediately goes
But I don't know
like,
why they're so mean.
they're so mean to her. I actually kind of get it, because she's so weird, and her mother's so weird, and based off what happens next, so it's like has this locker room scene. It's like all in slow motion with this like upbeat music. And there's like
also a weird amount of nudity for what is supposed to be a high
school
school
locker room.
Exactly.
locker room. Yeah.
It's full frontal nudity, like bushes, everything. And I was shocked because, like I said, I've only ever seen this on TV, and I had no idea that this was going to happen. So it's tons of full frontal nudity, and then this character, Carrie, who's supposed to be this like super shy, sheltered woman or girl, and there's like a 4-minute sensual shower scene with slow motion and close-ups and
sensual music as well.
Yeah.
And then she drops the soap and there's blood everywhere. She has her period, and that's the first traumatic incident. And everyone's just fucking terrible.
That we
to her.
see, like, all kinds of fucked up shit's probably happening at home her whole life
definitely.
with her
Oh,
mom.
yeah. So, yeah, as that happens, and all the girls are like super mean to her, and
They're all throwing tampons at her and stuff.
Plug
then
it
just
up.
to, like, make it worse, like, the teacher comes around and like doesn't understand what's going on, and then she figures it out, and Carrie's just freaking out, so she slaps Carrie.
That teacher does a lot of slapping.
Yeah,
She does a ton of
That's
slapping.
a really slappy teacher.
Yeah, well, it was a different time. But
Yeah.
then, like, to make matters worse, she goes to the principal's office, and the principal keeps calling her, like,
Cassie. Yeah.
Like, kind of on purpose, it seemed,
Yeah, he
after
just
being
didn't
corrected
care.
several
Yeah.
times.
And what's cool about, like, what's different about this movie is, like, right away, like, she, like, breaks the lights when,
Yeah.
all these things are back, and then she makes a mug go flying or an ashtray go flying when
Yeah, the
he's like,
ashtray
it's
falls off the table."
Carrie! Yeah, it's like, this movie is fucking dark.
Yeah, I mean, I think Carrie would really have benefited from the help of Professor Charles Xavier. in
Would've
his
changed her
school
life.
for gifted youngsters.
Yeah, for sure. God, and then she's like, this little shit fucking kid from the neighborhood, like creepy Carrie, creepy
Oh, yeah.
Carrie.
Yeah, what a little
And then it's like
douchebag,
she
man.
Fucking telekinesis throws him.
Yeah, that was
And-
cool.
One
That
of the things
kid
I thought
sucked.
was funny about this movie is you can tell it didn't have a big budget, because there's the scene when they go to right before that happens. There's this like super out of focus shot of like her house, like it was super blurry, and I was like,
But there were
"Wha-"
other shots that were cool.
There's definitely some cool shots, like even though they're like special effects weren't crazy, like when she actually has like her meltdown at prom.
Yeah.
Like, there was some pretty cool stuff with, like, the fire hose and stuff like that.
I thought there was cool stuff with, like, Tommy's face being in focus and Carrie's face behind him, like, being in focus when they were talking about, like, when she liked his poem that he didn't actually write.
Yeah.
Like, that was cool. The one shot that really bothered me was, like, when she and Tommy were dancing and they kept spinning around and around and around, like, forever.
Hell fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it was, like, you know, stylish and whatever, but, like, it went on too long. Like, I was getting dizzy watching it.
A couple scenes that went on too long. So, later on, there's, like, a detention scene because the teacher was like, I wanted to get you guys all suspended and take away your prom privileges, but the principal said that was overkill, so I'm going to have you do 7 days of, like, hell week after
boot
school.
camp.
Like a boot camp thing,
And I'm
right?
also going to slap you sometimes.
But that scene was like 8 minutes of them doing push-ups and then sit-ups and then push-ups and sit-ups and then running, and I was like, that was a really, really long scene. Then this one girl, Chris, decides that if they all protest and decide not to do the detention, they're not going to get in trouble. And then Sue is like, just shut up. Like, we were fucked up. Like, this one student, like, decides that they were really fucked up and they should be nicer. And then basically the plot revolves around she convinces her boyfriend to take Carrie to prom, and then they dump the pig's blood. And, oh, man, that scene where they got the pig's blood was super fucked up.
Well, yeah, and when they were, like, walking in front of that painting or that mural of all the pigs.
Yeah.
Like, they were just such shitty people. Like, oh, it's a fucking idiot who painted all these pigs.
Yeah.
Why do you care? Why are you so mean?
And then that one kid, like, chickens out, which I couldn't kill a pig. Like,
I couldn't kill a
not in
pig.
that circumstance.
Not
Like, in a
having watched Babe.
Like, in a survival, like, circumstance, like, I could kill a pig for food, like, if I had to.
I couldn't kill a pig to get a bucket of its
Of
blood
blood.
to
No,
pour on
to
a
pour on
woman
a
that I
woman, yeah.
don't know.
And then John Travolta, like, it does this thing where he's just, like, swinging and swinging. It shows him swinging, like, 15 times, and he's, like, laughing and enjoying it. I was like, that's fucking
Well, him and his
awful.
girlfriend had, like, a messed up thing going on, too, where, like, he was, like, slapping the shit out of her, and she liked it
But
and
she
stuff.
liked it, yeah.
Well, not at first.
And
She was
then
like,
call him,
dumb
like,
shit. Yeah.
Dumb shit all the time, and then
Yeah,
he would
she's like,
smack
"Don't
her.
call
and
me
then
that."
it was,
Let's see. So I wrote my note on that was like they're parked. He keeps groping her. She yells. He slaps. She's into it again, and then she's like, "I need you to do something important." And then she acts like she's gonna give him a blowjob, and then she's just like, "Billy, Billy, Billy, I hate Carrie White, Billy, Billy." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" And like, but like he's like going like he's got his hands back and he's got this like smile like he's getting a blowjob, and he's not. Like she's talking, so clearly his dick is not in her mouth.
no.
Maybe she's just
Or
really
it's very-
good, man.
Or it's very, very, very small.
Damn it, John Travolta.
Oh man, is there anything in particular with this movie you guys want to touch upon? Because I mean, I got a ton of notes on this movie.
I just want to say that the scariest part for me in this movie was definitely the mom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that's crazy about the mom is she was played by Piper Laurie, and she thought this was a comedy.
What?
And she didn't realize she was the villain until she was at the premiere,
That's crazy.
because she thought this character was too over the top that it had to be comedic. But like she was slapping and hitting Carrie. Like could she think this is a comedy?
Yeah, dude, she
I don't
stabbed her
know.
in the back.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so the thing about this movie that I think is drastically different than the newer one is there's a point when after Sue convinces her boyfriend to ask Carrie to the prom, and Carrie goes and tells the teacher that this happened. She's like, "Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing." And like Carrie's like, "No, they're going to trick me." And she's like, "No, it's great." And at first I thought the teacher really did think it was great, and then she goes and confronts the kids. And she's like, "No, I feel really bad about it," and everything like that. And she's like, "Well, you can't go to prom if you don't have a date." Like, I've never realized you have to have a date to go to prom. Like, has that ever been a thing before?
I don't know.
I don't know about back then, but it definitely wasn't a thing when I was in high school.
No.
Yeah.
But then they have this big thing like, "No, we want to do it because we've been mean to her." But I didn't actually believe it. So,
Well, so
No,
my
I
thing
didn't either.
is, it seemed like the whole plan to dump the blood on Carrie was contingent on Tommy taking Carrie to the prom,
which they didn't know
which
about
they
initially.
didn't know about or have any control over.
No, they didn't. There's a lot of things that didn't quite make sense. Well, the other thing about this one, this seems like it took place in a matter of a day or two. Like, it seems like they got the blood 3 or 4 days before the prom, and they had it up there for days before the prom actually happened. So, like, how did people not discover the blood at some point?
Or
it's
the
just, like,
rope,
on a
that dangles from the blood.
Yeah.
And someone attached it to, like, the whole stage or whatever and ran the rope.
Under the
probably
stage
through
where
a
they were
pulley
hiding.
system under the stage.
Yeah. So that didn't really make sense. And I never believed... So it's been probably a good 10, 15 years, probably longer, since I've seen this movie. So I didn't remember the plot of the one student, Sue, actually being remorseful and wanting to be helpful.
Yeah.
So I just didn't buy it. I'm like, of course, like, the teacher's right to confront him. Like, they confront them. Like, there's no way they wanted to be nice to her. And the boyfriend reluctantly just agreed to do this. But then at the prom,
But then he got into it. He was like kissing her all.
He was kissing her, and she's beautiful, and like he was legitimately pissed.
He was a
like,
good date.
Yeah,
I think he was actually into her.
Good old
I
Tommy
think
Ross.
he was at the point. And so when like they dumped the blood, he was like, "What the fuck?" And like he seemed obviously upset at that point.
And he got conked.
And then he got conked on the
He
head by
died.
a bucket. And then
he got killed.
dead.
Bucket to the head. What a way
And
to
that
go.
scene is pretty cool. Like when she goes and does all. God damn it, Katrina! Somebody got shot at McDonald's apparently.
Oh, dang.
Do you go to that McDonald's?
No, I don't. This McDonald's sucks.
People always getting killed there.
Everyone's getting killed. So that scene was pretty cool. Like when the powers are going through and she's like starting fires, or she breaks the sprinkler system, and then drops a wire, and she's got the hose. Like most of the telekinesis in this movie at the end was like using the hose to spray people down.
Mm-hmm.
That was most of it, and then flipping that car.
Oh well, closing all the doors.
And closing the doors, right?
Flipping the car was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool.
But then
And
that
then-
was stupid too. Like so, then
Why did
their
it burst
fucking
into
plan
flames?
How did
was
she
to
catch
just
up to them,
murder
though?
Carrie. Like they're hot running around and they see her walking in the road. They're just gonna run her down.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, but how did she get in front of them?
I don't know.
Like, I don't know how she caught up. That didn't make any sense.
Maybe they were driving around looking for her.
No, I don't think they were. They were trying to get out because shit was going down. Because they stayed and watched for a while.
Well, she flipped it over and then she exploded it too, right? The car.
Yeah, she exploded it with her
That's
brain.
pretty cool. The other thing too is like when she walks home covered in blood, right?
Yeah.
Like she's just dripping with blood. And then she goes home and it's like she gets in the bath and it's like that's a shower time.
Yeah, definitely.
Dude.
I was-
Yeah, you're
You
sitting in the
don't
blood
sit.
still.
You're just sitting there in the blood and it's gross. It's kind of
Yeah.
grosser. You
Yeah,
can't
that's
feel
super
clean.
gnarly.
Just bathing
No.
in blood.
No,
I mean, it's
I get.
ugh, so stupid. Baths in
scene-
general, dude. What's the deal with baths? Do you guys take baths? I never take baths.
I do every once in a while, just to, like, but it's
Do you
more
take
like
a
not
shower
to get clean,
first?
but to like if I've got like a hard day,
after?
like to soak and like get the heat into the muscles, but not to get clean.
Do you take a shower after you take a bath?
Nah, dude. I only take baths with my girlfriend.
Do you take a shower after you take a bath?
Yes, absolutely, I do.
Yeah,
If I
you're
do.
not going to go sit there in a pool of your own filth and then get out and be like, oh, I'm good.
I'm
No,
clean.
no,
I'm
not
good
at
to go.
all.
Fuck baths.
But I definitely remember that scene being gnarlier as a kid than it actually
gym?
was. The whole killing scene.
Yeah, I mean, they all got killed.
They most of them got killed. That is true.
A few of them got
Go back and
electrocuted.
talk to the mom.
A few of them got electrocuted.
A bunch of them got electrocuted.
The mom got pretty hard.
The mom got real good.
Dude, can we talk about that super creepy Jesus figure?
yeah,
I
that
think
lead,
the creepy Jesus was behind it from the beginning, dude.
right? Well, that whole monologue when she comes home, she's like, "Why didn't you tell me, Mom?"
Why was
And
it
she's
a
got,
Jesus
like, a
with
super
like all
thick
the
accent.
arrows shot in it?
What was that?
Why was it a Jesus with all the arrows shot in it?
Yeah, but
Yeah, that was weird.
That was
Did Jesus get shot up with arrows? I didn't know about it.
No, he just got
I
stabbed.
don't remember that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but
Okay.
she goes.
But that was
"Why
a
didn't you
parallel
tell
to
me,
how
Mama?"
how the mom got killed at the end. Like
Yeah,
she
they
was
were
all the
like in
knives at the
exactly the
end?
same
Yeah.
places.
But she goes. She hits her with her Bible, accuses her of sin. She's like, "Eve was weak. Eve was weak." She's like, "You should have told me, Mama." And she keeps calling her a sinner, and then locks her into the closet with the beard. That Jesus was also beardless.
I noticed
That
that.
Jesus statue, that was weird. I didn't get that.
It had weird eyes.
Super
Yeah, it had
weird.
weird eyes. I wrote down one of the things that she said, but I can't find it. Whatever. But yeah, that mom was super fucking creepy.
Yeah.
Why didn't
She
you
was
tell
awesome
me,
at the
Mama?
end when she was like, I
The other
could
thing that was
smell the
weird-
whiskey on his breath, and I liked it.
And I liked it. Yeah, that's weird. She totally liked it. In that summary that you read, it talked about the dad leaving.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember them actually saying anything like
No,
that.
Carrie
in the movie.
says that. Carrie yells that at her.
Oh, does she?
At the
Okay.
mom.
He
like
left,
she's
Mama.
So when she's saying she's going to go to the prom and she's not going to stop her.
That's right.
She's like, he left. It was a woman. Like, all of that. I think Carrie just had it with, like, the God stuff.
Yeah.
At that point.
The other thing that was interesting about this movie, like, they were obviously, like, terrible to Carrie at the beginning of the movie. And but at the end of the movie, like, when she goes to prom with Tommy, everybody was super nice to her and asking about her dress, and everyone was really supportive at this point.
Did they all know?
I don't know, but they were like, maybe just, it's like the, like, Money Can't Buy Me Love, and, what is it? What's that movie? Like, She's All That, where it's like, if you take the ugly chick and then put her with the popular people, like, people will like her. Like, overnight, it was like they switched and they liked her.
You know,
And
I'd
then-
also... Go ahead, and then I'll touch on
I was
mine.
gonna say, like, but she, like, hallucinates them laughing at her when it was only like 2 or 3 people in the audience.
Yeah, it was
laughing,
fake,
or
right?
not
Like
the-
that wasn't happening at all.
No, that wasn't happening. Like, everybody was shocked because, like, that situation is so beyond fucked up.
It's not funny anymore.
Not at all.
No, like, everybody was shocked. It was just like the 2 people who, Chris, her boyfriend, and then like 2 of her friends who were like there helping out. So it was only like 4 people laughing, 2 of which she could not see, but she hallucinated everybody laughing.
Yeah. Well, in that kaleidoscope vision.
Yeah.
Pushed it too far. But I think we would be missing if we didn't bring up the fact that there's a girl at this high school that dresses up like Mario from Super Mario Brothers every day.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
She's wearing overalls, a red shirt, and a red hat. She's wearing her stupid red baseball hat at the prom.
Yep.
I didn't
She
see
was
that.
no,
she was the one
laughing.
collecting the ballots.
Oh.
You didn't
I did
see
not notice
Mario?
it. No. Well, this was
Yeah.
years before Mario, so did
I know, but she just looks like Mario.
did that guy steal her design,
I
Stephen
don't-
King's design, or Brian De Palma's design?
I don't know.
Maybe.
She looks like Mario.
Damn. The other thing
missed
that was weird about this is everybody was like 30 years old at this high school.
Oh, yeah, this is an old high school. They've been held back several times.
Well, clearly with their accents, or at least Sissy Spacek's accent, they were in the South, so maybe they're just inbred and stupid.
They're not. None of them were very smart.
I mean,
No.
she didn't know about it, period.
Well, that's from her.
That's her mom's
upbringing.
fault.
So
Yeah.
they didn't say in this one that she was homeschooled, right? She was.
Although they
always-
also
they
had
do.
a tampon dispenser in the fucking shower room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, did she not ever wonder?
She never
what
realized
that's
what that was for. I don't know.
And none
The
of the
other thing
other
that was-
girls talked about their periods ever.
No,
Never.
that never happens.
Not a thing.
Women don't talk about that.
It's off limits.
It's unclean.
So one of the things that was weird about this movie is, so she realizes that, throughout when she's upset, things move and stuff like that around her. And she goes to the library, and through the card catalog and the Dewey Decimal System, she looks up miracles, but then finds a book on like telekinesis. But there's never like any scenes of her practicing, but by the end of the movie, she has complete control over everything.
She was angry.
I did
man.
find it a
dude.
little weird that she was able to have such perfect control on things that was only working in emotional outbursts. Like
I think
initially.
maybe like I don't know if she wasn't like she could do more things, but I think she was still lashing out. Like
Yeah,
with
but it
the
seemed like she was
rage,
controlling it, like breaking the lights and then moving the wires to electrocute people
Yeah.
and locking the
I
doors.
think
Like, it
just
seemed like she
the
had very.
lack of control that I'm talking about is just the murdering of everyone.
Oh yeah, like that was lashing out, but it's just to me it was a little weird that she was able to just be able to control this because she read a book.
I don't know.
kinda
I think
thing.
she just got pissed off enough and could do it just by wanting it.
I
She could
guess
probably do it all along. She just wasn't ever doing it.
maybe it really is a miracle, and she just had to think about what she wants to do. Because like a lot of other movies with like telekinesis, it's like you see them like struggling and they got to like put their fingers to their temples and like
Yeah.
squint real hard and clench
Yeah.
their jaw. She didn't have to do that.
She didn't have to clench anything.
No. Is there really anything else you guys want to talk about in this movie? Like, obviously, John Travolta's character is awful. Like, actress who played Chris was a terrible person. But overall, I mean, for the 70s, this was a pretty solid movie.
Yeah, I agree. I liked it.
And yeah, it was pretty cool. I liked it too. I remember it being a classic. Me only seeing this as a kid, like I thought it was gnarlier as a kid, but it really was tame compared to the new one, which we'll get into. But any closing thoughts on this movie?
No, it was good. I liked it.
All right, cool.
Oh wait, so John Travolta was raised Roman Catholic but converted to Scientology in 1975.
Oh,
So this was the year before.
Before this movie came out.
Oh.
dude, I didn't even know it was around that long.
Scientology?
Yeah,
Yeah. No, it's
Oh,
been
dude,
around that long.
Scientology goes way back, man.
weird.
L. Ron Hubbard.
That was developed in 1954 by L. Ron Hubbard.
Yep. Fucking weird
So,
shit.
Stay
Lord
away from
Xenu.
those guys.
Come on, Elron.
Yeah.
They'll
weird.
get you.
Hey, it's Mike again. We've got a quick little message from Dustin, just in between the two movies. He's got some dues for you, and then we'll get back to the podcast.
Hey everybody, just a quick heads up. You might have seen the artworks I've been doing that go along with the episodes of our show. Just want to let everybody know, if you become a Patreon patron, donate $5, that'll get you a print of a movie of your choice that we have covered. But a special thing we're doing is for the month of October, anyone who becomes a Patreon patron will get a 4 mini print set. That's a set of 4 mini prints that go along with our Halloween movies. So that's kind of awesome. So, if you got a little bit of extra cash and want to send it our way, Patreon's a great way to do that. We also, this month, picked up a couple of new Patreon patrons. Just wanted to give a quick thank you to Harry and Marta Sherwood for their donation. Really appreciate it, you guys. Thanks for giving us your support.
All right. Thank you, Dustin, and on with the show. All right, so let's just dive into the summary of the 2013 movie. You got that, Dustin?
A shy girl, outcast by her peers and sheltered by her religious mother, unleashes telekinetic terror on her small town after being pushed too far at her senior prom.
Another concise summary.
Straight to the point.
Great.
But then when you go to storyline, it's just a bunch of
Yeah, those
shit.
ones are super long. So first off, Judy Greer is in this movie, who I think is a super underrated actress.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, definitely.
I think she's great. She was really good in this movie. And Julianne Moore was terrifying in this movie.
Yeah.
She's really good at being a
Like
mom.
the mother, like this
The
movie
beginning,
opens.
like with the scissor.
Yeah, tell us walk us through the beginning of this movie.
Well, then
Dustin.
she's like born like in the house. It's like she like pushes out the child and then looks at like this newborn infant and goes to stab it in the face with a scissor.
With scissors. Yeah,
And
she's
then-
like, cut it down.
Yeah, and then stops herself or is stopped maybe by, I don't know. I couldn't really tell.
Yeah, it's really ambiguous as to whether or not she decided not to kill Carrie, or if as a baby she used telekinesis to stop these scissors. And
Which was
yeah,
awesome.
there's
It was a
like
great
blood and fluids everywhere. She's like praying as she's
Oh, yeah,
giving
it's just
birth.
But she was
gross.
also like, "What
And then
is
she's like-
this?"
Yeah, and she's like, I'm gonna cut it down. I'm like, wouldn't that be a sin, murdering the baby? Like with how like anti-sin.
Maybe.
Well, her
Oh
whole
my God.
view is all warped, man.
Yeah. Oh, it's super gnarly. And like this movie starts off similar. After that, it cuts to like a volleyball scene, but this is in a pool instead of like regular volleyball.
Yeah.
And instead of like them purposely hitting it towards Carrie, like she's just like hiding in the corner. And they're like, she gets the ball, and the like, coach is like, "Bring it in, Carrie! Like it's your turn to play." And she like smacks the ball into
Sue's head.
to Sue, who's like the nicer of the main
bitches.
of the bitches. And then like Chris goes, "You eat shit!" Like so, paying
Eat
homage.
shit.
Same thing. Another weird shower scene,
Yeah.
and
Not
at
as
point-
revealing.
not as revealing, but this Chloe Moretz in this movie
Is a
was
child.
under 18.
Yeah.
Like she's under 18, so it's actually even creepier.
Ew.
And then same thing, she has her period, and I actually felt like this reaction in this movie was actually more realistic. Like initially, like the students are all shocked, and then they like initially go to give her tampons, like they hand her one, and then she doesn't know what to do with it, and that's when they realize what's going on, that she doesn't know what this is, and then they get fucking terrible.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
in the first one,
Like,
she
they're just-
she has a handful of blood and she goes to grab someone with it, which is
Yeah,
weird.
she's like getting
Yeah, and gets
blood
it all
on
over their
people.
top. Yeah, so it's fucked up. But like in the original one, like they're immediately like, there's not like the shock and then the terror and then realizing what's happened. Like they just immediately go to being bitches.
Yeah.
In this one, there's shock and terror, and then there's actually a little bit of empathy even from Chris, who's like the villain of the movie. She goes to hand her a tampon and then realizes that Carrie doesn't know what's going on, and then decides to get mean. So like I felt like this was a little bit more realistic. Judy Greer's like coach role still slaps her, lights still break. But this movie, I feel, is much more realistic. Like when she goes to the principal's office, like he calls her like Cassie once, but then Casey,
Yeah.
but gets corrected, and then the rest of the time he's like super concerned about her. He says her name correctly, asks if she wants to go home, what she wants to do, and she ends up lashing out because he's like, I gotta tell your mom and call your mom. She doesn't want the mom, but like the principal seems to legitimately care what's going on with this student. Like he feels bad when he makes the mistake calling her the wrong name, and then makes a point of not doing that. So right off the bat, they make some changes to this. But is there anything like major that you guys want to talk about before we go into like detail? Like any highlights you guys want to hit up?
I mean, I thought the telekinesis was cool. I think it was much more pronounced in this movie, almost to the point that it was
showed her
like
practicing
over the top at some points, though.
I felt like this was almost like evil Matilda.
I can see that.
I don't know if you guys remember that movie.
Kinda, yeah.
Like she looks it up in the library, and she's practicing it in her bedroom, and then she practices it on her mom a little bit. Like she definitely has more of a control over her powers in this movie.
Yeah, definitely. Well, she practices a lot more, but she does do those
that was something
stereotypical hand movements to do it.
She does do the hand movements, but I did appreciate the fact that they were just like, it doesn't make sense that she just like is a fucking unstoppable Jean Grey Phoenix level powered person, force of nature. Like she had to practice, and as she got angrier, she was able to do bigger, gnarlier things. So I did like that. God, the mom was so much crazier in this movie.
It was, well, I mean, they were both pretty crazy, but this one just like took it a lot farther. I think it was a lot scarier.
What I liked about this one is Carrie was well versed in the Bible, which makes sense that she'd be reading the Bible her whole life.
All the
she
time.
was like, she told her mom she was wrong.
That's not even in the Bible.
The mom starts banging her head against the wall, and she's like, she says it's a blood curse, and Carrie's like, that's not even in the Bible, and she says something about the Bible being about love, and she stands up to her mom throughout the movie, so. It definitely made sense that there was like a breaking point in this movie. Like she's trying to stand up for herself and then just can't. And so she lashes out at the end.
Yeah.
So that made sense. The whole thing with like Sue and Tommy, I felt like this movie had a lot more character development in the movie, even though it was only it was like 3 or 4 minutes longer than the original movie, but it felt like it got a lot more done.
Yeah.
Like, they developed the evil Chris character and her boyfriend. Like her boyfriend was even more evil than the John Travolta version.
Yeah, he was like super evil.
Yeah, he was totally fine with killing people.
He was less of a dumbass and more just evil.
Like at one point, like it's his idea to get the blood and do this, and then throughout the movie, he's like, "We're not gonna watch. We're like, once we do this, we're not gonna stay and watch. We're out because this is assault now.
This is jail
kind
time."
of thing." And he's like, "I'm not gonna go to prison. If I get caught, I'm gonna kill you." Kind of thing. Like it's insane. And then like they go to run her down at the end of the movie and stuff like that. Oh man, it was weird. Like he was fucking evil, and like they didn't focus on the killing of the pigs as much. Like it was just one clean swipe of that, or not swipe, but swing of the hammer. This one was gnarlier too because they also posted the video on YouTube.
Yeah, it was messed up.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
it also
just a different time, like it's
that makes sense.
Bullying in that way.
But it also, what I liked about this movie was they bring in, like, so Chris tries to get out of the detention. She still has the same scene, and all the girls were like, shut up. Like, we're going to do this. We deserve this punishment. So Chris tries to go get her dad to sue the school, and then Judy Greer is like, well, let's check her phone and see if the video's on there. If she didn't post it, then she had nothing to do with this. And then the dad's like, realizes that his daughter's a bitch. And did this.
And a liar.
And he's like, I'm not going to waste my time. So it kind of makes a little bit more sense, this progression that, she's the most popular person in school, and like she gets pushed to the edge because, she doesn't get her way. So this whole movie seemed more believable to me.
Yeah, there's less of that. They're just terrible. Well, they're still kind of terrible to Carrie for no reason, or not a lot of a reason, I guess. Like the first one, it seems like out of nowhere they just hate her because she's weird. But like, I feel like someone who's that weird would be more ignored than just tormented.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get that they were actually tormented, but the teacher's actually being made fun. Like the Tommy character in this one, played by Baby Driver.
Baby Driver.
Yeah.
It's his name.
Ansel Elgort.
Ansel Elgort.
Baby Driver.
Like Double D, talk about Ansel Elgort's character a little bit, like Tommy.
Talk about Ansel Elgort.
Ansel, Baby Driver
in general.
Elgort. He's a cool guy. I like him. I mean, we're friends, first name basis.
Oh, yeah.
No, but he's like, he's the jock. He's got his girlfriend Sue. who's the nicer of the two bitches. I guess Mike put it as, but no, I mean he's about his girlfriend. He's all about Sue, right? And in this one, he put up a much more of a fight to going to prom with Carrie than he did in the first one, which I thought was more believable as well.
He was like, seems like a genuinely good guy. Like, Sue felt terrible about it. Like, in this movie, legitimately, I believe that Sue felt terrible and wanted to make amends. And he was like really supportive. He was like, nah, that was messed up, but it was a one-off and you feel bad about it and you want to make up for it. So he was really supportive about it, and he like agrees to go to prom. And he like fights to do it. Like, he seems to genuinely want to do it because he thinks it's the right thing to do.
This
which
is
I thought was
also
great.
Ansel's film debut.
Oh, really?
Is it really?
I feel like he was in stuff before this.
Oh. I thought Fault in the Stars came out before that, but I guess
That
not.
came out in 2014.
Oh, dang.
Oh,
And he was
so
also
you're
in
looking- okay.
Divergent.
Yeah.
That was 2014 as well.
Interesting. Well, that's a pretty good premiere movie. Good for him.
Good job,
And-
Ansel.
And he also stood up for, like, a teacher was actively just being a prick to Carrie, and then he calls him an asshole, and he's like, what did you say? He's like, I said it was awesome. Like, the poem. So, like, I really liked the character development in this movie. Like, everything felt more real and authentic in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
But I think
yeah,
it's just because
like-
it's more modern, you know? Like, it's easier to kind of relate to. And I think, you know, it's kind of in the same way that Scarface was, like, a little bit weird just because it's an older movie.
right.
Like, a little bit harder, like, a little less accessible, I guess.
I think the thing that this movie did really well was try to prove that Sue was a good person. So, like, there's a scene that definitely didn't take place in the original where they're, like, talking about it. Like, they're at the prom committee thing, and Chris is like, you should have backed me up. You know, you should have, you know, protested as well, and then I could go to prom. And she's like, I deserve it. And she's like, you don't give a shit. You just want to go to prom. Like,
Yeah.
And then that's where it gets the idea, like, oh, I won't go to prom. I'll let her go. And so, like, this whole thing felt real, and I'm, like, the first movie, I really didn't believe it until at the prom. Tommy was being super nice to her. Like, I remembered them being in on it. So, like, I felt this one was believable.
Yeah, I think it just had more well-placed, more well-placed, like, conversations, I guess. Like, even how they brought up how Carrie was homeschooled, or just that scene that you brought up, Mike. Like, it puts places, or it, how should I say this? It makes things make sense as you go along.
And it was paced really well. Like, they cut down, like, that detention scene in the original movie was way too long. The shower scenes were way too long. There was a lot of random scenes that went on way too long. Like, Carrie picking out the fabric in the original movie was a pretty long scene, too.
Yeah.
And this one, like, it covered so much more, but it went really quick. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for. Well, we haven't even talked about the major scene, like the telekinesis breakdown scene. But Double D, like, give me the highlights of that scene.
Are you talking about the prom king scene?
Like the
Okay, so they win prom king and queen. They go up to the stage, and obviously the bucket comes down on her, and everybody's still shocked. Like, there's not a lot of people laughing at this. But when they start playing the video on the screens in there, they start laughing. And this is what I liked about this one, that the people were actually laughing, and it wasn't just a hallucination of Carrie's. But then she goes nuts and just murders everyone. So this one was a lot
there was
gnarlier.
a lot more purpose
Yeah,
in
exactly.
this
She's
one.
going after people. She chokes Desjardins, Judy Greer's character.
Well, she did that to save her. She, like, force chokes her up above the water so she doesn't get
Yeah, but
electrocuted.
I mean, like, did she really have to choke her? Like,
Yeah.
like,
It's the only way to lift her. It was the
It's
only way to get her
lift
out.
somebody.
then she's like throwing things.
She
at
couldn't have
people
lifted her
with
by her, like, arms.
Yeah, no, not at all. Couldn't
No.
have gently placed her.
You gotta
the other
lift
thing
by
that was
the
crazy
neck.
is, I think the highlight for me in the actual prom scene was, like, there's that one girl who's, like, Chris's best friend who wasn't Sue, and she takes, like, the electrical wire and it's, like, whipping her with it, so she's getting, like, little shocks, but, like, backs her into, like, the table that's on fire,
Lights
so she
on
lights
flame.
up on fire. And then the bleachers, she, like, closes the bleachers on people who are trying to climb
that was the
up.
kid that couldn't kill the pig.
Yeah. You know what really bothered me about this one, though? So there was that kid in the library who, like,
The
taught her how to
photographer.
do the Googles. Yeah, and he like teaches her how to use it, and he was like nice to her, and he like
He
died, like,
he took
first.
pictures, and she killed him.
Immediately.
Like it was nothing.
Yeah, dude.
And she's like throwing tables and
Fuck
stuff like
all
that, like,
them.
aiming things. But he was a good guy. Like he didn't
Yeah, he
do
Fuck
helped
that
anything.
guy.
Make it.
He didn't help
widescreen.
him.
Like,
He
was
didn't
a
do
nice-
anything to stop it.
Well, he didn't know. What was he supposed to do?
take pictures.
Fucking get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, right. And then so eventually she kills
I
everyone.
don't know. Maybe not sit there taking pictures. Maybe somebody go check on the kid that got a bucket.
Yeah, that's true.
falling on
Nobody
him.
goes up there and
Nobody
checks to
goes
see
to
if he's
help her.
alive.
Nobody goes doing. They all just stand there staring like a bunch of dicks.
They're high school
Fucked
kids,
up.
man.
You know the kid's gonna die, dude. Like,
Well, the
somebody
thing
call
that they say is-
911.
So they make a point of saying only 2 people survived. Sue, because she gets spared, and then
Yeah.
the teacher. Everybody else
Everybody.
died.
Yeah.
And there's like a whole courtroom scene after. But like the scene where Carrie goes after
You know-
Chris and her boyfriend
Yeah.
was gnarly in the car.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
that was crazy.
Oh man, like
But I'm saying,
forgot
so like, let's say you're in that crowd, right? You're in the crowd, and when it's
I'd be
fucked
fucking
up, so
booking it.
you don't think it's funny, right? Whatever. Like,
No.
let's say she gets doused with the blood, but the bucket immediately falls on Ansel. Like, I think the people will be like, "Oh shit, yeah, some asshole is covered with blood. Is this kid gonna die?"
yeah,
Like,
right.
can we respond to this with medical attention? Like, it's
Well,
totally
they
ignored.
say in these circumstances, like if you're ever in an emergency situation, you never yell, "Someone call 911." You have to point to a specific person because everyone assumes somebody else is gonna. Everyone freezes because they think everybody else is
But
gonna
then
do
run the
something, and then nobody
fuck
does.
up there and check on the kid who got
That's what,
hit.
but nobody is shot. Like everyone assumes somebody else is going to do it. Like it's an actual
Didn't,
phenomenon. Like they say, if you're ever in a situation and you got the right, like a good state of mind, like you need to point to somebody and say, "You call 911. You go over there. You do this." Because if you don't, like assign an individual task to a person, they're not going to do it. Everyone's going to assume everyone else is
Okay,
going to
but
do it.
nobody did.
Didn't
any-
Judy Greer's character
Yeah,
start
that's a
coming
natural
towards
phenomenon.
the stage?
That's why they
happened.
should all die. I don't think that's a natural
Should
phenomenon
all
that happens
die.
every time in a state of emergency. Like there's situations where people take action. It's not like everyone in the human race is paralyzed.
In this circumstance, I would be got this.
You wouldn't go try to help the kid?
I mean, I
he-
would want
I mean,
to.
if
I would
he's
like
a jock,
to think
at
that
least
I would.
his jock friends would have came up there.
Yeah,
I would
he
like
was
to
like one of the
think
most
so, but
popular
then when you
kids
got
in
this-
school, and he got hit. He's gonna die.
Well, no, he had premarital sex. He was a sinner.
So
So, we didn't even talk about the ending of the original one really briefly because I'm like, Sue has a dream that Carrie comes back to life, that she goes to visit her and she's wearing like a white dress and she's skipping and then like her hand comes out of the grave and
Pulls
she
her
like
down.
wakes up screaming in the
Night terror.
hospital. Like, this ending is a little bit gnarly. So she goes to chase, like, so Carrie chases after Chris and Billy and like they go to ram her down with the car and she like force stops the car and the boyfriend just like shatters his like face on the steering wheel. So Chris goes to like steer the car and run her down again, and Carrie catches the car in like midair, throws it into a gas station, and then in slow motion you see Chris's face go through the windshield and get embedded in the windshield. Oh my god, that was gnarly. I honestly thought this movie was like a PG-13 movie until I realized like the second time they said fuck, because you know you get one fuck in a PG-13. I was like, holy shit, this is a rated R movie. And then I was not prepared for how gnarly the end of the movie was. And then Julianne, we haven't even really talked about Julianne Moore. Like, she was one of those like crazy religious people that did penance,
Oh yeah, she
like
stabbed herself.
stabbing herself in
That
the
was
leg
weird.
and like banging her head. Oh my god, I hated it. It was so
Yeah, that was pretty
uncomfortable.
gross.
And then at the end of the movie, she's like the whole same thing, you know, telekinesis, the knives into the mom, and then she feels bad and she starts to pull the house down on herself. And then Sue comes to save her, and then she realizes Sue is good, and then like she goes, "It's a girl," like Sue not realizing
Yeah.
she's pregnant, and like that's the twist ending. Like she's got other powers, so it's weird.
It is weird. It was good though. It was great.
I liked it a lot, but like I honestly thought this was going to be bad. Like it was a movie that didn't need to be made going into it, but I really enjoyed this movie. Like I was completely engaged in this, and then it still had another little twist. Like her tombstone cracks, so maybe she's not
Yeah.
actually dead.
Yeah.
But damn, this movie was. I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
think
both
I
really
may have
good.
liked it better than the original one, and I still really liked the original.
Yeah, I think they were both very good. I had a great time watching
Yeah,
both of them.
agree.
Yeah, I'm really glad we watched these. Like just I don't remember what movie we did. I think was it Cape Fear where we're just like go watch these movies.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
hands down, like
I
yeah,
think
it
this
was
is
a great movie.
Go watch both of them. They're both awesome.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
would totally watch it. You got October. You know, we're doing 4 episodes for Halloween this. You know, we want to make a big thing. Like, watch both these movies. It's make a night out of it, make a month out of it. It was really great. Like, I'm glad I watched both these movies.
Absolutely.
Yep, I agree. Both great movies.
Cool. So, any closing things? Anything we missed? You guys want to talk about on any of these?
Oh, in the first one, back to John Travolta's dumbass character. When he was drinking beer while driving the
Right
car,
next to
why
the
did he
gas.
pour it all over his face?
Because he's dumb.
Like, why
I think
didn't he know how to
was
drink a
shocked. Like,
beer?
he's like, ooh, ooh, ooh. It's like one of those infomercials when somebody like you need an appliance and it does something that nobody ever does.
Like he didn't know how a can worked?
yeah,
Nah,
I
dude.
guess. And then he's like acting all like, ooh, like trying to like act all stiff, like the cops don't see him. They
Yeah.
shine the light at him, and he's just all nervous. Like, that was a kind of a dumb scene.
Yeah, and then they're like arguing back and forth, and then like he says something like shitty to her, and then he whips a massive U-turn and cuts through lanes of traffic to do so, and then the scene ends.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, and then they go to like a party. And the first movie, the pacing was weird. Like, if you told me it took place in a 24 to 48 hour period, I'd believe it. Or if you told me it took place over the course of a week, I'd believe it. I don't really know what the time frame was.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to make sense. The second movie was very clear
It was very linear.
that it was. Yeah, I do think the pacing and the editing on the newer one was much better. But I think the first one had its merits. Like, that was groundbreaking. The special effects were solid for the 70s.
Yeah.
Like I said, just watch them both.
Yeah,
Yep, watch
I
them both.
agree.
Cool. So, you guys can follow everything that's MDXpods at MDXpods.com. We're on Twitter and Instagram, so check that out for all the updates. Please write reviews for us on iTunes. It's been a while since we got one, so please help us out with that. On Patreon, we are giving away movies for certain tiers, that we'll be autographing. So there's a lot of great things. We kind of rebooted Patreon recently, so check
check
that
it out.
out. Also, listen to our other podcast. Dustin's appeared on that before. It's called Ruin My Childhood. That stars me and Katrina. So that's pretty cool. Check that out. And, thanks for listening, guys.
Later.
Bye.
Later.